What's up, YouTube? Stop playing with them. I'm back with another YouTube video. Today I'm doing another motivational video called Loving from a Distance. Let's get to it. Well, loving from a distance is basically all about people that are in your life, whether they're close friends, acquaintances, associates, family members, and they're not benefiting your life. And they're pretty much taking from you. So the people that you need to, whether they're like with me, I have a best friend, Josh, and then I have another best friend named Jessica. And
JJ.
Some of them, you know, some people that I associate myself with pretty much leech off of me. My best friends, obviously, they don't, but a lot of a lot of associates and people that I once called my friends definitely leached off of me for the betterment of themselves, and they gained success, and I'm still at the place where I am now. Some of them obviously use me just for whether it was rides, whether it was money, whether it was networking, and obviously it didn't reach them anywhere, and it just losing me at the end of the day, and I'm a prize, so it is what it is. But obviously a lot of people in your life, they're meant to be there. Some of them aren't. They're just meant to be there for a temporary moment. Yep. And you just have to learn to let go. A lot of it is going to be, you know, tough. It's not going to be easy. It never is, especially people that you're attached to. But you have to let them go in order for you to be successful and you to be in the right mind. Because a lot of the times when you're attached to people and you're so close to people, you worry about them more than yourself. And that's when a lot of chaos happens and you start to go downhill, especially mentally and emotionally, and you're always worried about them when really they're not even worried about you. So you just need to learn to love from a distance on certain people.
I think that's the hardest lesson for people to learn, especially because when you have certain relationships with people, you become comfortable in that relationship and what roles that you play, and you may not even notice per se that you're making a lot of sacrifices and the other person isn't until somebody else has to point that out for you. A lot of times it's hard when it's your family members, because the people that you love the most are the ones that might take advantage of you, but you may not see it. And so that's why I think in any relationship that you have, whether that be whether that be a friendship, an intimate relationship, a job, or anything, I always tell people, make a pros and cons list, because the pros and cons list will tell you the truth. It'll tell you the facts. Like, a lot of times we like to be oblivious to what's going on in our relationship, and you're allowing this person to take from you something that they shouldn't take from you. And a lot of times, just the simple fact that they will be taking your joy, they'll be taking your happiness, they'll occupy a space in your mind. That person may not be thinking about you, but you'll steady be thinking about them, because they'll allow themselves to dump their problems onto you. And so it's just best for you to love certain people from a distance, and it teaches you, it's healthy, that some people, that relationship may not even be a bad relationship. It's just y'all need to have y'all distance for that time, because you need to work on you. A lot of times people don't know when to split away from a friendship or from a relationship, because you two are just growing apart. And that's not bad, that just means y'all are going two different ways in life. And so I just think that loving people from a distance is probably one of the hardest things people have to learn. But once you learn it, a lot of older people got that down pat. Once you learn it, you'll be good to go.
That's so true. And I'm dealing with that right now. I'm learning to love people from a distance, but it's very hard to let go when that's all you know. And obviously it'll take over you, and then you like start to lash out and start to go crazy. And a lot of people can get depression from that and anxiety. I know a lot of people in that state of mind, and I used to be there too. I'm not even gonna lie. And it's tough. It's really tough to let go. It's really hard to learn and to experience different people, because a lot of people aren't gregarious. They're not at all. So it's like they're used to one type of person, or a type of social group, and that's all they know. And when they try to step out of the comfort zone and, you know, love people from a distance and try to do their own thing, it's hard, especially for people that's so used to always hanging out with someone else and can't do things on their own. And I feel like he's taught me as well to do things on my own, such as like trying to go to the movies, because I can't even do that till this day. Like, I can't go by myself. I feel like I need someone. Yeah. I feel like I need someone, and he tells me like, no, you need to learn to do things on your own, like go to shopping on your own, do this on your own, love yourself on your own, just have time for yourself, so that way you can focus on you and make plans and stuff like that you need to do in order for, you know, further years to come and success and stuff like that, and building your own brand and stuff like that. So
I always tell people that with what she was saying is that you need to truly learn how to make yourself happy. Because if you don't know what makes you happy, there's nobody in the world that can please you. And that's why I tell people that when you can do things on your own and you're truly self-sufficient, it's like you won't be as sad when you're like, okay, then you call somebody, hey, I want to hang out. Nobody wants to hang out with you. But like, that's okay, I'm gonna hang out with myself. I could go make myself happy. A funny thing, my aunt back in the day, my dad always tells the story that when she was younger, and she would always want to have parties when it was her birthday time, or like, but they didn't have a lot of money, but she didn't care. She was like, even if nobody wanted to celebrate with her, she would go down to the store, go down to the candy store and buy 25-cent candy and buy a whole bunch of it and go have a party by herself.
Hey, go girl.
And now she's a very successful nurse and she's doing everything, but she's learned to just be able to hold her own, and she doesn't need a whole bunch of people for their approval or to just have a good time. And I think you really find inner peace and inner joy when you are able to sustain yourself. Another thing that comes in, all of them, my aunt and all of them have a firm foundation in God and in Jesus. And when you, there's a scripture that says, if you keep your mind on Jesus, he'll keep you in perfect peace. Yeah. And so when you have your mind in a higher power, it's a lot more peaceful, and you learn how to love people from a distance because God is the greatest teacher. He'll teach you everything that you need, and I think that's the greatest thing you could take away from that.
Good.
That's so true. That's so true, and I feel like it applies to relationships as well. Learning to give your partner space, and not necessarily loving from a distance, but in a way loving from a distance. Not always like being under them and clinging to them, because that gets obviously aggravating from time to time. So you need to just learn to do your own thing as well, instead of trying to pair yourself with them.
And they even say that it's healthy for couples to have a little time apart because it makes you miss that person. It makes you miss all the good qualities that you have from that. They always say you never know what you have until it's gone. And so when you have a little distance apart from somebody that you're constantly clinging on to, that'll cause a lot of issues if you're steady under the wing of somebody. Like you need to have there needs to be spontaneity in your relationships, not just intimate relationships, in all relationships. And that's when it becomes draining and harsh, when there's nothing different, there's nothing spicing up your friendships or relationships. And when you are constantly having to supply and you feel like you're always having to give in a relationship when no one's ever giving you anything, it's toxic and it's not healthy for you. And that's when you begin to have resentment and hatred towards a person that could have been your best friend. Y'all may have been best friends, but you have to learn when to let somebody go, because you may be their best friend, but they really may not be yours. And that's really hard for people to understand sometimes. But it gets easier as time goes on, and you're able to see signs and signals in people, and that's why a lot of older people are able to weed out people in their relationships, and weed out people that's why like your parents will tell you, no, you don't need to hang out with that person, because they've grown up and they've been there and they've seen the same patterns that this person that you're hanging out with had, that maybe one of their friends had, or somebody that their parents told them about. So it's just good to learn those patterns that people have, so you know, okay, then this person I'm gonna have to love them from this far, or this person I can bring them in a little bit closer because they're not going to harm me at the end of the day.
That's so true. That's so true.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really speechless because honestly it's so true. Like, there's so many people in your life there to affect you on a good note, on a bad note, and you just have to learn the lesson from each and every person that you bring into your life. Honestly, like, you've taught me so many lessons, my family's taught me so many lessons. I let go a lot of people. I don't like necessarily cutting people off. Like the topic of this theme basically is, it's loving people from a distance. So I don't like necessarily just like, oh, you're no good for me, I'm leaving, bye, you're like, that's it, I'm cutting you off. I don't do that. I just be like, okay, I see that you're not, working for me at this time in my life, so I just need to push back a little bit from you and just give you your space, and then when you're ready to come back, we can work something out if it's meant to be. If not, it's just what it is. So that's why lately I have not been like reaching out to people as I usually do. I let them reach out to me and see, like, you actually care, okay, cool. I don't have to always reach out, I don't have to give 110%, you're giving nothing. Like, it should be 50-50. And I've been noticing that a lot with friendships and relationships.
I guess the last key thing I'll touch upon is something I had her do a little while later. I posted it on Snapchat, and it was like, if you really want to know who your true friends are, go 2 weeks without reaching out to anybody and see who reaches out to you. Because that'll really tell. Everybody's busy, everybody has a lot to do, but nobody, I don't care who they are, every single second of every point in their day is occupied. There is a little bit of space. You pick and choose what you want to do, and so it's nothing to take a few, not even 60 seconds to text somebody like, hey, how you doing? You could say, hey, I'm busy, I can't talk to you, I just want to catch up and just say, how are you? or to just see how are you doing today. And that's just it. If nobody reaches out, or if those select people that you think are your friends don't reach out to you in 2 weeks, that just shows you where their priorities are. Because a lot of times you have people high on your priority list, but they have you really, really low. And you have to understand, hey, if I'm gonna allow this person to occupy space in my mind and give them the time and all the effort and all the cares and concerns, they need to have the same energy, and they need to be doing the same for me.
Yeah, and actually when I did that, a little test run, the only person that reached out to me was my best friends, my family, and that was it. Like, none of my other close friends, which is like 10 other people, reached out to me. And I was like, wow, like I really have to put forth the extra mile just to reach out to you, and you can never do the same thing. It's never reciprocated, and I always have to reach
Hold
out.
this, because we gotta move.
Okay. And I always have to reach out to them in order to start a conversation. So, like we've said, love people from a distance, so that way you don't get hurt in the end, and that way there's a message, there's a lesson in everything you do, but you just need to learn who's there for you and who's not. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe, turn on post notifications, and thank you for watching.